Hi gardening friends, welcome back to my kitchen on Garden Avenue. Today's the day. It's time to turn our tomato harvest into tomato sauce for this winter to come. This year's harvest was not my best. I don't know if it was all the crazy rain or what. My tomatoes, they didn't do great. But I did end up with 5-gallon bags of tomatoes that I'm now going to turn into spaghetti sauce and can for the winter. I'm not sure how much I'm going to get based off this. Then I'm going to go to my local farmer's market and buy a bushel or two of tomatoes to fill up the pantry the rest of the way to get us through the winter. Sometimes it happens. Next year, hopefully, we'll be drowning in tomatoes again like we were last year. So, one thing I started that I highly recommend is I freeze my tomatoes. As the tomatoes are coming in with the harvest, I core them, wash them, put them in gallon-sized freezer bags and plop them in my chest freezer. Just keep adding to the bags till they're full as they can get and keep going day by day by day. This way I don't have to do tons of tiny little batches of canning because that is exhausting and messy and takes a lot of time. This is a wonderful system. What I found out after starting the system last year at the end of the season when I was drowning in tomatoes and had already been canning for days and days and days and I was just done, is that when you defrost these tomatoes, the skins just magically fall right off. Takes so much less time. And as they defrost, you can pour off a lot of the water, and so that reduces your amount of time in the boiling down process making your sauce. So, highly recommend you try it. As your tomatoes come in, clean them, core them, throw them in a freezer bag, and put them in your freezer till you're ready to can. It will save you some time and energy. So now we need to put these into bowls and let them defrost. And when they're nice and defrosted, I'll be back to show you how I can my sauce. Okay, gardening friends, we are back in the kitchen and I finally have defrosted tomatoes. My timing was off yesterday. They took longer to defrost than I thought they would, and so we pushed everything to the next day. So is life. Sometimes it happens. Now, I'm going to bring up the camera close and show you how they've defrosted. You'll see all the water that I can drain off and then get to see how easily the skins just pop right off. Let's take a look. Looking at this first 8-quart bucket of tomatoes, you can see there's a ton of water in there, which I'm just going to drain right off. And then as you look at the tomatoes, you see that the skin just peels right off. Like nothing. Which is so nice. Plop that in another bucket, and I'm going to peel all the skins off all these tomatoes. If you're wondering why I pour off the water, it just saves time in the boiling down process. If you just went straight from fresh tomatoes and put them in your pot and started to boil them down, that's the water that you're evaporating to make your sauces thicker, more the consistency that you're looking for. So by pouring it off, you are just saving time. Now I run my tomatoes through a food strainer after I get the skins off, so I just get the bulk of them off. I don't stress about getting every single little skin off because it will come out in the food mill. But look how easy this is. It saves you from having to put the tomatoes through the mill 2 or 3 times to make sure that you get all of the skins and seeds out. because what we really want is the tomato, not all the extras. Here we are, 1 bowl of tomato and 1 bowl of skins. Now, if you have any concern that you lost too much tomato in the process, you can run your skins through your food mill and make sure that you're getting all the goodness. Now that we have all of our tomatoes skinned, we are going to put them through my food mill to remove all the seeds and get all of the nice tomato pulp and juice and everything that we need to boil down and make our sauce. I have an attachment for my KitchenAid to do this. They also have hand mills that you can do in varying varieties. I will put some links in the description of different things that do not require a KitchenAid mixer or any power at all. In the past, before I had gadgets, I also just boiled everything, used an immersion blender and blended it really well and called it a day. There was seeds in it, I didn't care. For the most part, we never had any problems. So you do have options. I just like, now that I have this tool, to remove the seeds and avoid any chances of the sauce being bitter after it sits on the shelf for a while. I am going to put through our whole bucket of tomatoes, and then just because it's easy, I may put the skins through depending on how much liquid I get once I put through this. I'm thinking it's about 5 quarts of tomatoes. I wish I had more than that, but this is what the tomato harvest gave me this year. So now it's time for the kind of messy, even though I try for it to not be, no matter what I do, this process is messy. But we're gonna put everything through the strainer, and that is the next step in our process. Tomatoes. They just come out the end here and get caught in the bowl. I like to scrape the tomato pulp to make sure that I'm getting everything I want into my bowl. Best to do this when you actually turn it off. That is all valuable tomato as well. Okay, now that that messy process is done, it looks like in my 8-quart pan here, I have about 4 quarts of tomato sauce that I'm going to start boiling down. Now this boiling down process is going to be a lot shorter than if you didn't drain off the water ahead of time. If I would have started with just my fresh tomatoes, roasted them in the oven and thrown them in here, which is another process I do, I probably would have had closer to 10 or 12 quarts to start with, and then as I boiled it down to evaporate the water, I would end up with the 4 quarts that I have right now. This is pretty much what I'm gonna have, the 4 quarts. I will bring it up to temperature, boil it, see what the consistency is in about 30 minutes of boiling, simmering I should say, 30 minutes of simmering, and then I will get back to you. But for now, I need to go clean up the giant mess in my sink because the first part of this process is just super messy and I have lots of dirty dishes. Okay friends, the sauce has been boiling for about 30 minutes now. I'm going to bring the camera over here and let you see the consistency and tell you what my next steps are. As you can see, it's nice and hot. It has a slightly watery consistency right now. So we have 2 options right now. We can keep boiling this down and reduce it to make it thicker, but doing that, we're gonna lose some of our quantity. Or we can add some tomato paste and thicken it up that way. I often add tomato paste to keep the bulk of my sauce while still making it the thicker consistency that I want. Kind of depends on what I'm canning. This time this is going to be spaghetti sauce. For spaghetti sauce, pizza sauce, I add the tomato paste in to make sure that I'm getting the consistency I want. If I'm just canning plain tomato sauce to make things later, like chili or pasta sauce, then I won't put the tomato paste in right then. I will wait and add the tomato paste when I use it to make what I'm making. So today I'm going to add 2 cans of tomato paste into the sauce, and that's going to help it thicken up. Now that the tomato paste is in, I'm also going to add my spices. I am going to use a tablespoon of granulated garlic, a tablespoon of granulated onion powder, and 3 tablespoons of Italian seasoning. Add those into the pot and simmer for probably another 15 or 20 minutes. While that sauce finishes up, I have my 4 quart-sized jars in my water bath canner heating up, and then it will be time to get these things canning. See you in a few. Now for the fun part. We are going to get our jars out of our canner. We're gonna fill them with our sauce, place our warm lids on top, put our rings to finger tight, and then back into the canner for 35 minutes. High acidic foods, 35 minutes is a perfect amount of time for all of your tomato sauce needs. I use the 35 minutes in the water bath canner for regular tomato sauce, spaghetti sauce, pizza sauce, anything with a high salsa, anything with a high tomato content, so it's highly acidic. Here we go for the fun part, and the part where I hope that I don't get it from head to toe. If you are able to can without getting tomato sauce all over your kitchen and yourself, bravo! I make a mess every time. Also turning my heat back up to get my canner back up to a boil. Always be careful to not burn yourself. Hot steam, hot water, hot jars. Be cautious. We fill our jars to about 1 inch headspace. Well, look at that. Exactly 4 quarts. That happens to me so rarely. Now I'm gonna grab a wet paper towels to clean off the tops real quick. Don't want any tomato sauce messing with our seal. Okay. Now for our rings, just finger tight. Like I said, everything's hot, so be cautious. Into the canner we go. We want this boiling over the top of our jars, so I'm going to add some more water. Put this top on. The timer doesn't start until everything is at a rolling boil. So that could take 5 minutes, that could take 10 minutes. It depends on the heat of your water, how much water you had to add. But we don't start our timer until everything is rolling and boiling in there. Okay, my friends, we are all set. 35 minutes in the water bath canner. Take off the lid, turn off the heat, let them sit for 5 minutes. Remove them from the water, and then I always set them on a towel that's on a cutting board, and then I put a towel over the top, and I let them sit for at least 12 hours as they seal themselves up. Then I'll check them, take off the rings, make sure everything's tight, and we are all set. 4 more quarts of spaghetti sauce for my pantry. Now, 4 quarts gets us nowhere. 4 quarts gets us maybe a month and a half. So I'm going to go to my local farmer's market and buy a bushel or 2 of tomatoes and make some more to fill up my pantry. Because my kids just prefer mine over what I can buy in the store. So I might as well give them what they want. If you enjoy canning videos and want to learn more, please check out the link at the end of this video. And next time, I will see you for more canning, preserving, cooking, and gardening fun. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Please like, subscribe, and share this channel. Peace out.